Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. It's me, Captain Logan, and joining me, as always, is my wonderful chat moderator and producer, DJ Martinez. Hello, DJ.
How's it going?
I'm good. I'm excited that I'm actually able to do a show tonight and that I didn't die on the street because I had a tire that blew out. See, now I kind of wish I hadn't even told you about it. It would have been great if this was just like the lead-in before the lead-in.
Oh, yeah, I would have been much more shocked. But he did tell me before we started filming, so.
Yeah, I did. I shouldn't have done that. But, yeah, I had a tire blowout as I was getting on my cul-de-sac. And I was like, oh, well, this is good. At least I'm home. I was able to get it up the driveway. And we're going to have to get it towed in the morning. So, anyway, everybody's fine. You should have seen that. It's not just a flat tire. Like, it is blown out. There's, like, a big hole in it.
Jeez, did it make, like, a huge noise?
No, that's what was weird about it. I just heard it rumbling. Like I just felt it under my feet, just rumbling. It was the driver's side, front tire.
Yeah, you just had your music blasting too. You were rocking out too hard. Couldn't hear it.
Yeah, no. What was I listening to? I don't think I was listening to anything actually.
Oh, okay. Well.
Anyway, welcome everybody. Thanks a lot for being here on the Captain Logan Show. As always, we're going to have a lead-in topic. I'm going to kind of speculate a little bit about animation and compare American animated shows to Japanese animated shows. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on that, or at least the plan is to not spend a ton of time on that. I've also got a couple of news stories I want to look at very briefly as well, DJ, and before we do anything, I just want to mention that we have a new sponsor on the channel who is somebody that you guys have actually seen before on the show, a good friend of mine who's started a new kind of side hustle to his regular business, and it fits really well with what we do. So he and I have put together a partnership. He's going to sponsor the channel, and I'm going to bring this up some on the Captain Logan Show. So my tattoo guy, Elmo, and actually I just got a new tattoo. I was kind of debating about whether or not I was going to wait until the next Smallville show to show you guys this, but given that...
Chat.
Yeah, we're back to this again. But given that I'm plugging Elmo tonight, I wanted to go ahead and show you. But here is my new Kryptonian Smallville tattoo, and it's in. I showed this the other day on the Sonic stream, so a few of you guys have seen this already, but most of you guys haven't. Here is my wife's name in Kryptonian. So this is Ash in Kryptonian, and then of course there's two A's and an R and an H, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. That is the first tattoo, DJ, that I came up with when I first started thinking about getting them.
Yeah,
and I think
you told me about that.
I think I might have even mentioned it years ago on the old Geekvolution After Dark with Eric. Because one of my first topics on that show was, if you got tattoos, what would you get? And now we're here, and I've got 9.
Yeah, it's crazy that was the first one you were ever going to get. That was the first one you told me about, and then it's now your 9th one. That's insane.
So, quick plug for our sponsor. I want to say today's sponsor, like a lot of YouTube channels do, but I don't do a lot of sponsorships. And sometimes I get requests to do them from companies that'll send me emails, but very rarely does something come my way that I think is connected enough to what we do, or that I really like the product. So I haven't done a lot of this kind of stuff. But Elmo is a spectacular artist, and if you're not in the Kansas City area, and I mean, there's a lot of ifs with getting work done with Elmo usually. You may not live here, you may not want tattoos, but now you can get Elmo's fantastic art at Imperial Heart Designs on both his Etsy shop and his personal website, or I shouldn't say personal, but his business website, imperialheartkc.com. So he is selling on Etsy right now exclusively mugs, and there's going to be, I have to forewarn you, 1 or 2 of these that will be kind of lewd and crude, because Elmo is a tattoo artist and he has a somewhat different sense of humor than mine. I don't want to throw all tattoo artists under the bus, but there's a, I don't know, there's a mug that says balls on it. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, so Elmo is doing these fantastic mugs with some of his tattoo designs and other designs that he's come up with, including a lot of Mario stuff. And I've got one right here. and I want to say that some of this is stuff that he's actually tattooed on folks. These are at his shop right now, $20, and he prints these himself. So he's not going through a print-on-demand place. He's got his own equipment, and he is making all this stuff. It's very high quality, all on his own, and he has also started printing stuff for us. So here is my Counting Crypto Freaks mug, or one of my 3 Counting Crypto Freaks mugs, and I might give away one or two of the others on the here, because the secondary camera's over here, so you can see it.
Hey, there it is. I've seen it. It looks great.
But I might give away 1 or 2 of those on the next 24-hour stream. But anyway, so you can get mugs there, and you can also go to Imperial Heart Designs and on his regular website and get other stuff, including T-shirts. Eventually, I don't know that he has those yet. He's just started this stuff, and my internet is running really slow right now. But yes, he's got the Super Bowl shirts, because we live in Kansas City and they just won the Super Bowl. So if you're into football, he's doing some really great designs for the Chiefs, and he's got his Electric Iron tattoo and Elmo Boyd shirts from his business, if you get to really like him and you want to support him in that way. But you can also order custom stuff. So if there's, and Elmo is a super fast artist, if there's something that you're really into that you want in original print, or he's doing like metal signs, vinyl decals, banners, stickers, you can do business cards. He's asked me if I want to get something with the tick on it. If you're a big fan of really anything, he can do a super cool custom design for you. And I don't have pricing for that, of course. You'd have to talk to him privately and set something up with him. But those are the 2 places to go, and I will make sure and get those in the description. Anyway, so we'll go ahead and get to the lead-in topic here pretty soon, and then after that, we'll let you guys help us direct the conversation with whatever you want to talk about in pop culture, geekdom, anything you want to ask about within reason. And, if you're not reasonable, I'll still consider it. You can leave a super chat in any dollar amount that guarantees that I will talk about whatever is on your mind. And thanks so much to anybody who has done or ever will do that. We really appreciate it. It helps keep the train running here on Geekvolution, and I'm able to continue making this my full-time gig. Still streaming 5 days a week right now, plus daily episodes of Not Spawn Year. I have not gotten the one for today up yet, so that's going to be what I'm doing right after
down to the wire.
This show. Yeah, this one's kind of down to the wire, but so far I've managed them every day. Today will be day 59. I've gotten a single comic issue out every day, and those have been a lot of fun to do. I really kind of spread my wings and reading stuff that I've had forever that I've never taken a look at, and kind of going back down memory lane, reminding myself of stuff that I haven't looked at in a long time. You can also leave a regular comment and make sure to tag that at DJ Martinez, because he's going to be reading all the comments, of course. And let's go ahead and get right into tonight's lead-in topic. So this idea came to me because I keep bringing this up on the channel, DJ. I keep saying I wish America could just kind of take Japan's lead and do more straight adaptations, or at least faithful adaptations of like full-on beginning, middle to end comic runs like animes. So I want like American animes, not in necessarily an anime style, not exactly like they do in Japan. It would be cool to get, real American looking stuff, and you could do that too, certainly, and we've done those, not as much with comic adaptations, but like America's making animes now. Like half the new stuff that's on Netflix, I don't know if they should even be considered animes. It seems like there's only Americans involved, or at least Americans are writing them. But I want to see more just straight off the page adaptations of stuff, and I was talking about this, like Invincible, and because I think that's a wonderful show, and it's a really good proof of concept of what we could be doing with classic runs, more recent runs, and not just DC Marvel, popular in continuity stuff, but like if, say, Y the Last Man had come out in Japan, that would probably have an anime. Like, where is all that stuff, you know? And so I got a comment last night, a pretty lengthy one that I'm going to read to you by a name I didn't immediately recognize, Alex H4319, and he had a lengthy explanation as to why he thinks we're not doing this and why it's kind of unrealistic to expect it. And so I wanted to kind of make his comment the lead-in topic for tonight. So we'll go through this, discuss just briefly, and then we'll go to a couple of other pieces of news, including a follow-up, DJ, on the new Hellboy movie, which people were asking me to talk about, and I considered making that the lead-in topic, but I wanted to cover this as well. DJ, I don't know if you've heard the extra news we've gotten about that, but that is immediately sounding way more interesting and maybe the movie they always should have made. So we will talk about that.
Cool.
Here is the comment that was left last night. While I agree, this is, again, Alex H4319, while I agree that America should do like the Japanese do, by the way, this was on the speculation cast that Austin and I did last night, and this just happened to come up because I keep throwing this idea out everywhere. While I agree that America should do like the Japanese do and use the animation medium to do more adaptations of the comics, I do think there's a major difference between what Japan and America that's not a sentence. He needs to lose the word what, but it's fine. Between Japan and America, that makes Logan's suggestion a little more complicated, and that's that most Japanese comics are written and owned by one author with a beginning, middle, and end, while most American/Western comics, in contrast, tend to be corporate owned and written by multiple writers. It's easy to do straight adaptation of a manga, as there is only one source comic to draw from. This is why most media comic movies don't directly base their storylines on the comic storyline, instead opting to create original stories that are inspired by the various comics. Even the revered Batman TAS, which many hail as the best adaptation of Batman in any medium, took various liberties from the comics and didn't follow the comics story. And I don't know if I'll read this entire comment, but the main suggestion that I was making last night was I'd like to see this done more with, again, like complete stories that do have a beginning, middle, and end, whether they're set in a continuity or not. So I totally get the difficulty in taking like a big comics event or a major, say, like Spider-Man run that's connected to too many other stories in a continuity and trying to make something like an anime out of it. But there are lots of things like Invincible. Like Image has plenty of material that would be ripe for an anime type show or a an American animation show that has a clear like planned ending and isn't just on for as long as they can get away with making episodes. Mm-hmm. And you could also do this with stuff in DC and Marvel. The place where I disagree with this commenter is there's still plenty of stuff that Marvel and DC publish that aren't like lengthy ongoing things that never end. One of the big things I was talking about last night was, wouldn't it be cool to get an animated series or a mini-series, whatever you like, for something like 1602? With Marvel, or something like Marvels. These are things that would be, lots of Elseworld stories with DC. These are things that would be easy to adapt in a singular continuity with a particular style all its own, based on the original comic style of whatever it is, without being informed too much by anything else that comes around it, and without your having to know a lot of lead-up material. And what's been kind of irritating about, while I appreciate the effort, some of the adaptations that the DC direct-to-video animated movies have done, is they have a finite length, and sometimes it does feel weird to be dropped in the middle of a continuity when the whole thing is about, this one story. So like it's kind of strange to do like the first one they did was Superman Doomsday, based on Death of Superman. Kind of weird that you would be introduced to Superman and then kill him 10 minutes later, as opposed to that already being in an established continuity. But no reason you can't do, Marvel Zombies that way. And I'm glad that they are doing that show, but is that going to be an adaptation of just that book, or are they going their own way and telling a totally different kind of story? Like, I don't know. Like, just because you hear a project like that, Marvel Zombies, which was originally a story and yes, had lots of sequels, doesn't mean that that's exactly what you're getting. So he makes a terrific point that it's easier for Japan to do these kinds of things because the rights to a lot of those characters and stories aren't owned by a big parent corporation. But DJ, I feel like there's really no reason that the parent corporations can't still do this with some stuff they own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That's a really interesting point he brought up, but I guess I wasn't even thinking about it from that. I just don't know why they don't even try. It doesn't seem like they try.
Yeah, he says here that I'll go ahead and continue reading this. He says, you guys cite Spectacular Spider-Man as an example, but while that's a faithful adaptation, it's not a great example as it's not the same straight adaptation of the comics like Japan does with properties like One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. And with respect, I think because Austin brought that up as a faithful adaptation, and he was saying like I think his point was, we can do more straight off the page stuff. When it's done well, it tends to be more like that. But he was saying, I think that there's room for both, where it doesn't have to be like anime all the time, where it's more or less off the page. And of course, like, anime still will take license and stuff. Don't get me wrong, and they'll not always tell exactly the same story. It won't go exactly the same way. I know that Death Note is somewhat different in the adaptation than in the manga, but I think the point he was making was the kind of tradition that we have of telling a new story by hobbling together old material doesn't necessarily need to die, and that when you're kind of updating and pulling from material that's 30, 40, 50 years old, it doesn't always make sense to just do a straight off the page kind of period piece. Now, DJ, I still would like to see that done some too. Like, I'm not sure why we can't have some just, instead of motion comics, just like, and we don't really make a lot of those anymore either, but like just straight up animated series that are like a motion comic, and you just say, yep, this is that, like you use the comics as storyboards. We realize this is a 50-year-old story, but we're giving it to you in animation with full voice acting, with a soundtrack and everything, and just not pretending like it's anything other than it is. I think there's room for all of that.
Yeah, I definitely wish we would get some more of that. I don't know. I guess they're kind of doing that. I don't watch animated shows anymore, but I know that whatever the new Spider-Man show is, not Ultimate anymore, but whatever it's called, does like, it did like Spider-Verse, and it did like the Venom. It did like the Venom-verse, their version of that. So they like pull in some names and they called it. I don't know. They did I don't know. They're doing a little bit of that, but I doubt it's adapting it closely at all. I think they're just pulling names that people recognize that so people watch it with their kids.
Yeah, kind of dumbing it all down for kids.
Yeah. I wish we would make Marvel shows that were for 12-year-olds again, and not just 5 and 6-year-olds.
Yeah, and finally, he does talk about Marvel doing this specifically, because we were talking about this on the Marvel Speculation cast, so he ropes it into that topic, and we had kind of run away with ourselves at that point in the show. We weren't talking as much about, like, Marvel or the MCU doing this kind of thing, but he says, even if Marvel were to try to adapt more of the comics through animation, it would just be like direct-to-video animated movies that Warner Brothers Animation does. It would be niche, so it would have limited appeal, and only appeal to nerds like us. Animation isn't taken as seriously as live action is in the West, like in Japan, and of course, he's spot on there, and we've talked a lot. This is kind of our second or third follow-up on the why isn't animation taken more seriously in our country discussion. But I feel like there is I feel like there's still a way uh, to get adults, more on board and paying more attention to animation, and you just need some houses to take more risks, like with Invincible. I think that's a really good, like I said, proof of concept, and he agrees with me. He says that too. He says, so Invincible's case, you can do, he says shows like the Invincible show that there's a market for this stuff, but Invincible is the exception to the rule as it's based on a superhero property that has a singular storyline that you can follow from a beginning. But again, there's more of them, though. And it doesn't all have to be superhero either.
Mm-hmm.
And also, anime is very popular here. So wouldn't at least the anime fans show up for really good American, serious, hard R animation? I don't mean it all has to be hard R, but I do think that there's a place for all of that stuff if you market it right and if it is really good, particularly on streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
So he's right. There are hurdles here they don't have in Japan. But I think I'm sticking to my guns and saying it's still worth trying. And I think we can change the narrative on animation if in this country and get people to take it more seriously if only some companies that own this stuff would take the risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big TV guy, but obviously, I where it hits me is animated films. I wish you would make animated films again, like for adults. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just watched Spirit.
Well, I wrote that in too. I mean, there are certainly graphic novels. Like Klaus would make a wonderful adult animated film. That doesn't need to be a miniseries. You can do that in 2 hours. I mean, I'd love to see that kind of stuff too. But
yeah, you guys mentioned Disney Plus should be releasing these. I have no idea why they don't. They're cramming as much content on there as possible.
It's Disney. How does Disney not have an animation department for Marvel stuff?
I don't know. Well, they don't do 2D animation anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I doubt they could have a budget big enough to do Disney or Pixar looking. I don't like where we are with Disney right now. All the movies look the same. They all have the exact same character styles.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's Frozen or in Encanto or whatever. What's the one that just came out? I just watched it from last year. They all look like the same kind of people. They're just the same kind of round, gummy faces. Like, get some different animation styles. It's been a while. DreamWorks is finally doing it. Puss in Boots was great. Completely different animation style, and it drew a lot of inspiration from anime. So we might be heading that direction soon. We got Spider-Verse, and then we went to Mitchell's vs. the Machines, and now Puss in Boots. So some of the studios are shaking things up and taking some inspiration, where Disney and Pixar are just kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, but Marvel, but like Disney is doing some 2D stuff at least for kids, or at least they were when they were doing their Spider-Man and their Avengers and Guardians stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting the follow-up to X-Men 97, which of course is only 2D because it's throwback. But if that works out, and I don't trust that it will, I hope it does, of course.
What is that going to look like? I'm so interested. Is it going to look like the crappy kind of like flashy looking animation that What If was?
I think they're going to go out of their way to at least make it seem real authentic, even if it's, because it's not going to be cell animation, of course. Like, it'll still be made in a computer, and I hope they don't update it too much. But what that should be is, I think, is just, like, I also don't want them to be all, like, ridiculously self-aware and try to create mistakes. I'm a little bit worried. No. Like, I could see them doing that kind of stuff. What I hope they do is just a much more polished version of what they had already. Like, the character models are the same. The look and the feel of it is just what it was in the mid-90s. But it's much more polished. They're not making all those animation mistakes. And I hope there's, some of the goofiness of that show should stick around. But how do you do that, like, earnestly and it not feel like self-parody? That's my worry about bringing that back. It's like, those guys didn't stay in the 90s. They've continued to experience life along with the rest of us.
Yeah, that is a very tough job. I don't envy those people because I don't know how you balance that without everyone just kind of making fun of it because it's silly. It's like, do Do you try to make it more serious or do you make it more authentic?
Yeah. I don't trust that those guys can come back and necessarily and give us exactly what we had then, but I do think John Semper could for Spider-Man, because I don't think that guy has changed in 30 years. And that's why I'm hoping eventually we'll get a season, 6 or 7 of that show and let Semper make it, because I do think that it would be perfectly authentically whatever he was wanting to do for another season.
Well, and the Spider-Man show is so earnest. Like, they play everything like it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
With those voice actors and everything.
Insanely straight. And they talk about it like it's super serious and held in the same regard by people like Batman the Animated Series. And the people that made that show don't take that show all that seriously. Yeah. And are a little baffled by the fact that people do, I think, to some degree.
Well, we talked about this the other day. The ideal follow-up to that show would just to do a 2099 show in that style, but do a different show, because it's going to be weird going back to that.
Yeah,
because no one cares.
Absolutely,
no one cares like where the real Mary Jane is at this point. It's been 20 years.
It would be really funny to do a miniseries just to like tack that on at this point. But no, I don't need that either. Yeah, just do 2099.
Yeah, or do an old Spider-Man story, like. And
you're saying like set it in the same continuity.
Yeah, you can even have that voice actor come back. Like maybe do a crossover where like there's a time travel thing and you see that Peter for one episode or something.
Oh sure, that'd be great.
That'd be pretty cool.
And I know I pitched this a lot with other things.
Or a Spider-Girl show.
Spider-Girl. Do Marvel to have what's his name? Is that Josh Keaton or is that no? That's a different guy.
No, I don't know his name, the 90s actor. But yeah, have him come back as an older Spider-Man or has given up Spider-Man and we've got Spider-Girl. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be great. Wasn't he Aladdin?
Ooh, I don't know that.
I think that's also Aladdin, but I might be mistaken. It's been a while. We've got a lot of super chats already.
Yes, we do.
So let me just very briefly hit these quick news articles. And again, I wanted to make sure and mention Hellboy. I wasn't sure I had enough to say about this to make it the whole lead-in topic, which is why I just wanted to kind of tack it on. But this is from Collider. This part we knew already. A new live-action Hellboy reboot in the works at Millennium Media, but I found out about this through the Captain Logan show, and I had not looked at an article yet. So later on, Austin was looking into it and sent me more information, and we discovered that everything about this sounds exactly right, and like we're maybe finally going to get a Hellboy movie that's more like Mignola comics. You know why? Because Mignola is co-writing it, and that's very exciting. So Brian Taylor is directing. They're calling it a reboot. This is another one of those things, DJ. That's it's new material. It's a new movie based on some of the same source material, although this is going to a miniseries, by the way, that I've not read. I'm not a huge Hellboy guy, but a miniseries that they were not looking at when they made either of the other franchises, because it's 2023 now, folks, and we've already had 2 Hellboy continuities in film. One of them only got 1 movie that everybody hated, but yes, somehow we're already talking about a 3rd iteration of Hellboy. But yeah, so the Crooked Man is the name of the miniseries that they're looking at, and it's going to be a 50s period piece, actually written partly by Mike Mignola. So how can we not be excited about this? I mean, like it kind of sucks not to have ever gotten that 3rd Hellboy movie. We've talked about that a lot, but I'm excited about this for Hellboy fans. Because I'm not a big Hellboy fan, but for friends of mine that are really into this, like Vince, I think Austin is a Hellboy guy. It's really neat that they're finally going to get this treatment for that character. And I don't know how much interest there's going to be in it. I hope it's not going to be a super expensive movie, because I don't think that does super well at the box office. But this sounds, DJ, like a Dredd situation to me.
Ooh, yeah, that could be cool. I like that movie. I don't know if I have any interest in this, because I've never read Hellboy. It doesn't immediately sound like my thing, but I'll check it out if I hear it's good.
Now, what's weird and maybe will be alarming to some folks is that the director of this movie is the guy who co-wrote Jonah Hex and co-directed. It's so weird this was 2 directors. Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I don't.
But with the right script, it might be fine.
I don't know. There's a lot of times comic artists or comic writers get involved, and it's still just up to the director's decisions ultimately. But who knows? Maybe they'll shine through.
No, you're not wrong about that. But this worked out with Sin City. I mean, it's worked before. It's also not worked lots of times before.
Yeah, I don't know what the batting average is, but I wouldn't bet on it.
Finally, I wanted to mention this. I got a message from Austin just before the show started, and this is a thing that will excite DJ, I think, a lot, and a lot of you guys as well. This is just a tweet that I saw. I haven't seen an article on this yet, but this is from a Twitter user called the Disc Father, dealing with physical media, coming to Blu-ray for the first time from Warner Brothers Home Media. We're getting a release for Fleischer Superman, and the hope with and apparently April is what I'm seeing. And the hope with this, DJ, the only thing I'm really concerned about with it, I'm so glad this is finally happening, and it's cool that Warner's is actually releasing this themselves. The only thing I'm worried about is the potential for censorship. I really hope that doesn't happen.
Oh, no, I hope not. No, they've been good in the past about releasing things. I bought the Popeye DVDs. Well, this was a while ago, though, so who knows? But I bought the Popeye DVDs, and at the beginning, there's like a blurb that says, hey, these are a product of their time. There's some
So you think that's probably what
not okay stuff in here.
What we'll
but
get with this.
just, yeah,
and I don't even like the disclaimers, but at least they're not changing anything.
Yeah. I hope they don't. I mean, the first short of Popeye has a carnival game that was apparently very popular at the time that I didn't know about called African Dodger. Look that up, folks. It is horrific and disgusting, and I did not know about it, but thanks, Popeye, for telling me about that.
Some folks are also concerned that the Paramount, or hoping that the original Paramount logo comes back and that the in music is restored, because we've had a lot of releases with Fleischer Superman that take, if memory serves, the original teaser and stinger and then just put them on every single cartoon, and they're not all the same. So hopefully they're put back to what they were theatrical.
So I bought this. There's never been an official release of this, but I bought this a while back. And
well, it's public domain, so anybody can put that out. You right now, DJ, can still put that out if you want to.
Yeah. So I'm happy that they did this, but also this is terrible. They have their logo, this stupid game, whoever this company is. They have their big logo right in the corner as a watermark on all the shorts. And then on one of them, like the audio got messed up, and it was like off with the lips. It was really annoying and distracting. But other than that, it's cool to have them on Blu-ray. But I'm glad there's going to be an official release, and hopefully they restore them, and it looks really nice, because that's awesome. I love looking at these old things.
Was that released by Kamen Rider Gaim? Was there a guy in like a Power Ranger pineapple costume that was like pineapple, and then he just put out Fleischer Superman on Blu-ray?
I don't know. It's GAIAM, and it says Live, Learn, Grow. They have this big obnoxious logo. But other than that, I mean, I was happy to watch them with my son. But yeah, I'll be so happy to have an official release of this. That's awesome. Great news. Thank you, Austin.
With that set, do the transfers look pretty good, or did you say?
They're fine. I don't know. They're probably about DVD quality. I don't know if they I doubt they did any kind of restoration.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get a remaster with this.
Oh yeah, me too. I hope they put the work into it.
Wouldn't that be exciting?
It's the anniversary for Superman. That's why the big, huge 4K release of all the Donner films is coming out this year. That looks awesome.
Good call.
So hopefully they do the work.
What would you expect for the price point on that? Like 25 or 30?
Sorry, as my thinking sound. I don't know. Warner is usually pretty good about releasing that stuff. I don't imagine it'll have a lot of fanfare or have like a slipcase or anything. I'm sure it'll just kind of be like this. But yeah, probably around 30. How many shorts is it? Like 17,
18? Yeah.
Yeah, 17. So yeah, probably about a season of television. They'd probably, I would assume, maybe $30.
I wish they'd go all out with that and give us a steelbook and stuff, but we're not going to get that.
Hey, we can dream.
DJ, would you start getting us to some comments, please? To some super chats and stuff. And feel free to go
whole
anywhere you want to. I know there's stuff about the lead-in topic. I could have talked more about that. I figure I'd let these guys direct that conversation a little bit. So go right ahead.
All right. First one was from Philip Kelton, 125 Mexican pesos. Honestly, I think the reason we don't get shows based on runs is because it would be hard for marketing team and toy makers to insert all sort of tropes to think about it as a formula they can profit from.
Inserting all sorts of tropes. Well, but I'm thinking more in the adult direction. I get not doing straight up, like, you know, the reason that we didn't, for instance, like, and this is obvious, this goes without saying, but like, just adapt the first several issues of Eastman and Laird Ninja Turtles is because A, it would give children nightmares potentially, or at least that would have been the worry in 1987, right? And you know, that was aimed more at adults, and it was a parody of Frank Miller and more you know, comics aimed at grown-ups, but because the whole point was just to sell toys, and it's, you know, we've gotten a long way away from that, where we have a lot of adults now that want like serious character-driven animated stories. And we're getting some of that here and there. If you can do Castlevania, you can adapt anything, and it doesn't have to be, again, necessarily in an anime sort of style. But you know, I'm just thinking of a lot of one and done kinds of things that, like, I feel like it's. I mean, there's a million things I could throw out, right? Like, you could do this all year long just with Batman stuff, especially considering that all DC publishes now is like out of continuity Batman stuff. That's not fair. But they're doing so much, you know, like one and done out of continuity Batman stuff, or creating new side continuities. No reason that White Knight can't be a show. No reason that even something like Dark Knight's Metal, you know, whether you love that or not, couldn't kind of be its own standalone thing. Why not make an Injustice series instead of just a movie? I think it's preposterous. And again, let alone creator-owned stuff that it would be much easier to do this kind of thing with. Black Science, Trees, again, Klaus. Why not? Why not make this stuff for adults? It doesn't have to be there just to you know, appease to children or appease children. And there's, you know, there's not enough middle of the road stuff, certainly. But like the commenter earlier, and thanks once again to him for kind of creating the lead-in topic tonight, Alex H4319. He makes that point about Batman the Animated Series, where for a long time that was, for at least, you know, the big two, for DC, the most faithful, you know, adaptation we had, and it's still got to be episodic, and it's still there to sell toys, but that was in 1992. There's no reason that, and again, I keep going back to Invincible, but that has proven it. People had no idea what that was and don't care that it's animated. If that worked, I don't understand why a bunch of other things can't. I'm just going in circles now, but...
Mm-hmm. Next from Bag Studios,
Yeah.
$4.99. I'd love to see a Gotham Central animated show, and obviously the entire Ultimate line could be great animated.
Yeah.
Maybe change the Ultimates 3 a bit. Haha, he says.
Yeah, absolutely. You'd have to either give
Ultimate
it
Spider-Man.
You'd have to either finally give it a good ending and let it die, or just, you know, keep going and give it a real ending. I mean, if it's its own continuity and it's not roped into with 616, which, by the way, Ultimate never should have crossed like that. It never should have ended up being in alternate dimension and been part of the multiverse. So if it's by itself, there's no reason that you even have to kill it, of course. But you know, if you got to the end of that and you did Cataclysm the way Cataclysm should have been done, I would actually be fine with that. Where you have a big, you do Ultimate stuff, you do Ultimate Spider-Man, you try to make X-Men a little better, maybe make it based more on the second volume of Ultimate X-Men, because I actually like that stuff quite a bit. You do, the Ultimates and whatever other stories you want to do, and then you do, shared universe, like a few seasons of things here and there, and then you do one big event show where you reveal that there is, in fact, another Marvel universe that looks like the classic one, and Galactus comes over and just kills the Ultimate Universe, and that's how you finish all the shows and you never make any more? Yeah, I'd be totally fine with that. That sounds awesome.
Oh, I would love Ultimate Spider-Man.
Of course.
And that'd be perfect for budget, too, because you just adapt it straight, and you keep all the talky stuff in.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have a huge budget for action all the time. You let it have its ups and downs.
You can make people forget that it's animated.
Yeah, like we had with Spider-Verse.
Yeah. And again, that's what Invincible manages to do. And I don't think that would be necessarily as good, and certainly couldn't be as stylized of a show if it was done in live action. I've always said I wish this was the way Walking Dead was handled. I wish it had been animated in the first place.
Mm. And then he also,
and that's not to say that these things can't be a live action, of course, but
yeah.
But you could do both, because it would be easier. Here's the thing. Also, to the commenter's point earlier, the idea that it's too niche and is only going to appeal to a smaller base. But I also kind of like some of that. I mean, you certainly want it to be able to make money and continue on, of course. And so there's a little bit of a worry. These things are not cheap, that you won't be able to keep producing them, obviously, but also not everything has to be super accessible and for everybody, and at least common denominator. And there's a lot of like really offbeat stuff that not everybody is going to care for, that Japan does, that I wish we would do. I'm watching through an anime right now that's like that. That's kind of a psychological thriller, and I keep meaning to do a video on it, but I haven't gotten to that yet. I was waiting to mention what it was for anime fans, because I wanted to surprise people with it, because I don't know if anybody even knows about this show, or if very many people do, but I keep mentioning it and I haven't reviewed it yet, so I'll just say, so this is a show from that started in 2004, I think, called Monster, that's on Netflix, and it's, like I said, kind of a haunting psychological thriller that starts as a hospital drama. And it's kind of it starts as kind of a big whodunit thing, and then it's more about a kid who seems to have just always been evil somehow, and so the big mystery is he just like too far gone from the beginning and can't be saved, and is every person worth saving or not, is kind of the big moral quandary of the show. And I like it a lot, and I will try to review at least what I've seen so far in the not too distant future, but I want more kind of off the beaten path stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And real quick, I meant to say this earlier when I was talking about DC direct-to-video movies. I think it's preposterous that they have had to, in order to have enough time to tell complete stories based on sometimes even just 6-issue miniseries, but like 12-issue stuff, longer pieces that are still finite. They've had to go to 2 movies. And I appreciate that they've done it like that. They really learned their lesson from some of the mistakes they made early on. And then, Death of Superman still kind of sucked, but it wasn't really a length problem. It just wasn't good. But, they did this with Dark Knight Returns, and then much later they did it with Long Halloween. And it would be cool if that wasn't the only way we could see adaptations like this.
Mm-hmm.
And they should still be adapted. You know what I mean? Like it still should be, changes should be made for the screen when it makes sense to do that. They are different mediums.
It's interesting. That's almost an argument against this, right? Because those are not popular, and they can't afford to give them a bigger budget than they're giving them. So that's almost like, well, there's your proving ground, and it failed. Like, so I see why they're hesitant to give these more niche things, a bigger budget, but.
Okay, but the counter to that is nobody knows about those outside of, big superhero and comic book fans that track this stuff.
Yeah.
The only way I ever found out about those movies was going to box stores,
Yeah,
which
like
are
seeing him at Target. Oh, yeah, there's one.
yeah, and sometimes you would find out for the first time that one was coming out because it just came out. What else do we have this with? You see trailers for everything else, TV shows, movies, but this stuff, the only time I ever saw an advertisement for one of those was on the one I just bought, setting up the next one.
Yeah,
And
I imagine
you're
it's
not
just
even
a shoestring budget they're working with. They don't even have marketing budgets.
And you're not even seeing that as much now because your box stores are all truncating and eliminating their physical media sections.
Yep. My Best Buy doesn't have a single movie in it anymore. They just remodeled and they got rid of all physical media. It's very sad.
I can't get my mind around that. I mean, that was a quarter to half of their real estate at one time. It was all about the movies. Well, if you got video games and movies together, it was probably half the store.
Yeah, they still have video games. They just got rid of the movies. I don't know. Not all Best Buys. I know this is just some Best Buys. We have another one that I went to last week, and they had some, which was great.
I mean, I was at a Target the other day that I frequent that used to have a really rockin' movie section, and they've even truncated theirs down real hard. And we're about to get to the point. This is another topic now, but we're about to get to a point where you're just going to have to order everything.
Yeah. Yeah, my Target has one end cap and half of an aisle, half of one side of an aisle. That's all. And they don't get 4Ks anymore, so I can't even really pick them up anyway. They just get the Blu-ray. So, yeah, I have to get all my stuff online.
And that's not as much fun. And you can't be surprised by anything. You can't walk in the store and go, oh, this is a thing. Okay. Like, I like to not know everything and get to be surprised by stuff.
Yeah, well, I just said I went to that Best Buy the other day and I picked up these two. I picked up Fabelmans and Elvis because I watched those recently. And I was like, I missed the thrill of the hunt, man. I miss just finding stuff. Like Elvis is only $15. So Grace is like, yeah, we should just go ahead and get it. And I was like, oh, it's just fun. And when it's online, you don't get the same boost of endorphins or whatever it sets off in us collectors. That probably dates back to some evolutionary reason when we were hunters and gatherers or whatever it is. But it's not the same when you just click a button and buy it now.
And it's fun to find sales. And yeah, you sometimes will do that online. But very often, the thing is, if physical media... Again, we've now moved to a completely different topic. If
it's my fault.
If we get to a place where physical media is all but dead and it's just, collectors buying those things, and you could argue that we're already sort of there, but it's kind of a matter of just how many of us there are that want to actually physically own our stuff. You're going to get to a place where, because it's just basic supply and demand, where so few things will be printed that, and you've already got this with like some movies, but also like there's whole sections of action figures and toys where this is a problem, where if you don't pre-order it, you might not get one. You might never get one. And so you're not even going to be able to, my point is, you're not even going to get to look for fun sales online anymore. You're going to have to buy the thing in the first place because it's going to be so rare that immediately when it's in people's hands, and this goes back to the whole scalping discussion we had a couple of weeks ago, it's going to wind up on eBay and Marketplace and stuff, hiked way up, or everybody that wants one has one, and the few of us that were, sitting around twiddling our thumbs that forgot to order it in the first place are going to have to pay more to get it from the one guy that decides to get rid of his.
Yeah, I literally just had to do that. Another movie came out last year, Tar. I didn't pick it up when it came out, and I was talking to Connor about it, and he was like, oh, the 4K for that is like impossible to find, and you're never going to find with the slipcover. So I started looking on eBay. I finally found a guy, and I was able to get it for a reasonable price, but there was only like a couple on there. Like, I don't know why they printed such a small run on that movie, but it sucks.
So you got super lucky on that, yeah.
Yeah, it cost me like $32.
I was gonna say you didn't have to tell me, but what was reasonable? Like, what was it when it came out? Was it like 25?
4Ks are usually still about 30 when they come out.
Okay, so by reasonable you mean you got it for about the price?
Yeah, with tax it was exactly about the same, 32. So I lucked out on that guy.
That's lucky, yeah.
Yeah, and it's still sealed. I don't know why he did this. I don't know if he was a scalper or what, but he didn't even open it up. Usually they take the digital code out and then just sell the rest, which is what a lot of people do, because then they have the movie. But he
might be like me and he forgot he had it. I still have stuff back here with the superhero movie collection that's shrink wrapped. That was so embarrassing when I was going through my movies on Superhero Rewind, and like, oh, I never took this out of the shrink wrap. Let's
All
try
right.
to knock out a couple more before the break.
Sure. Let's do it. Let's set our mind to it and
And
make
thanks
it
for being here
happen.
tonight, everybody. If you just popped in, we've been talking about physical media for 5 minutes again, and talk about animated movies here versus Japan. I think we've pretty well exhausted that topic, but we'll see if it comes up again. Go ahead, sir.
All right, Mutale. 14 South African Rand. Better Thor, Ali Balder, or Beta Ray Bill?
Ooh, that's quite the toss-up. I mean, it's hard not to be superficial and just go to a design place with that. I love Beta Ray Bill's design. He's awesome. He looks
He's
like
the
a
Norse
scary.
horse.
He looks like a scary monster, man, because he's got a horse head, but he's like one of the most likable and altruistic characters in Marvel, in comics. But Balder is fascinating also in Simonson. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to go with him with Beta Ray Bill, but just because of his design.
Cool. Marvel Select just put out a big, massive Beta Ray Bill figure. I don't collect Marvel Select because it's not the same scale as Marvel Legends. They're like 9 inches or 8 inches instead of 6 inches. But it's cool when you get the big, bulky characters that are bigger anyway, like that. It looks really cool. Mutale, another one. Cap and DJ, do you prefer credits at the beginning or end of a film? And what alternative titles would you have given for Far From Home and No Way Home?
Those are both excellent questions.
Two great questions. Two totally different questions. I should have waited.
Yeah, but the two of the best questions I've heard on the show in a long time. Well done.
Maybe a comment of the stream, sir.
Maybe a comment of the stream. Absolutely. I think, I'm going to start at least giving it out, even if I don't put it on the screen. So far, that is comment of the stream. So, stream, screen, stream. Anyway, DJ, why don't you field that first question first?
Okay. Because as we know, putting the credits at the front is
so rare. It never
so rare.
happens.
Sorry, Brandon. I love you, man.
He's never going to live it down, though.
Okay, so I was just talking about Tar. This is a very interesting. Everyone watch Tar. It's a wonderful movie. This they actually put the credits at the beginning of this as an artistic choice. They are actually backwards. The credits start with the people that would usually be at the very end, like catering and like production units and stuff, because this movie is all about egos getting too big and kind of becoming manipulative when there's one role that's way more significant in a group setting. It's about a conductor of an orchestra and about how power can corrupt and stuff. Very, very good movie, but it's all about the little people getting kind of lost in the shuffle. So they put the credits at the beginning and they put them completely in reverse, which is a very cool design choice.
Yeah, that sounds super pretentious out of context, but it sounds like it's really thematically appropriate.
Yeah, it works. I think Tar really works. It's a really good movie. I actually rewatched it and had a much better viewing. I couldn't vibe with it the first time. I think I was just not in the right headspace for it. But the second time, I really, really liked it. But yeah, I think nowadays, since it's not the standard anymore to put them at the beginning, I think you kind of have to have some kind of artistic reasoning for it, or just kind of a feeling if you want to create that kind of classic film feeling. Maybe just make it a choice. Don't just do it just for no reason, I guess would be my initial thoughts on this question that I just heard for the first time.
Yeah, I don't think I have a preference in general. Like, I'm walking into a movie going, boy, I sure hope I'm sitting through credits at the beginning. I mean, I like here's the thing. It's really classy, depending on the kind of movie you're making. And this is such a depends question, of course.
Yeah.
To do the old Hollywood style, you sit through 5 or 10 minutes of credits at the beginning, and then when the movie's over, it's the end, and you're done, and you walk out, and there's nothing else to say.
Cool.
I do really like that, and I like bringing it back every so often, but I don't need everything to go back to that. I think what I like is variety. And I think we have that right now. That's a thing in film at the moment that I'm actually really appreciating, DJ, is I don't know if I'm going to get hit with credits up front or if I'm going to get a title and that's it, or if I'm not even going to get a title. I feel like for a while there, after Nolan did it with Begins and Dark Knight, it became really in vogue to have either just a title and no credits, or like a vague, kind of like we did with the bats with those movies, a real vague sort of pseudo logo, and then you don't get anything until the end. But I like that we're bringing back credits at the beginning some, but we're also still doing that. I think for so like in general, I don't care, but I think with specific genres, generally speaking, I kind of want maybe, if I have to formulate an opinion, because I haven't thought about this, I think I probably want a bombastic credit sequence of some kind in a big, fun, loud action film. I think generally speaking, I kind of want credits at the beginning of one of those, or a big sci-fi epic, unless it is super, super serious and we're getting right into character study or, big, tragic, cataclysmic thing or whatever. So, like, I didn't need it with the Planet of the Apes movies. I think it makes sense that those don't have it. If I'm remembering that right, I'm pretty sure those don't have it. But then if you're watching like a more understated, character-driven, kind of small, intimate piece, I like the credits under like, establishing status quo. Like, this is a person's house, this is traffic, this is somebody going about their day. That's a good place to put credits.
Yeah, it can really set the tone. Like,
it's a mood setter.
I have a really hard time picking a preference too, because I like both and I've had great experiences with both. Like, it can really, like, if a movie just starts right when you just sit down, you're not really like ready or prepared or in the headspace yet. But if you sit down and you have a couple minutes to like focus and zone in while the credits are going, that can really get you into the film a little bit better. And also, I've had really, really good experiences where a film just hit me so hard at the end. I remember The Green Knight, I just needed some time for it to wash over me. I sat through all the credits just thinking about it, just sitting there, and I had to finally woke me up when the lights came on. So yeah, I like that too. I wouldn't have liked to just walk straight out of that film. So I don't know. I like both. I mean, it's a cop out, I guess.
Yeah. But that's a neat question. I've never really thought to try to break that down at all.
That's really cool. That could be a discussion topic for a video.
Absolutely. Could have been a good lead-in topic. Comment of the streams should be, we're actually just going to write this down and deal with it later. We're not
just steal it. This will be a Tuesday show with Cap and DJ. But yeah, we didn't even get to his other one yet.
Yeah, we're going to do that, and then we'll go to the break. So alternate titles for the most recent 2 Spider-Man movies. Get away from the home thing. Because as Cinematographic says, I think I agree with this, he says these movies really don't have anything to do with Spider-Man being home or having a home.
No, it was just a kitschy, stupid thing that they had decided to do and stuck with it.
Maybe No Way Home a little bit more just superficially with, you have characters from other universes that are trying to get back there, I guess. But it's also not even a... It's not even a title that fits, because, I mean, they do get back. I guess the idea is Peter Parker in a more metaphysical way doesn't, or a metaphorical way doesn't get home at the end, whatever. You can make the excuse for it. It's just not a great title.
Yeah. Well, and Homecoming's not a great title. As much as I love that movie, it's just a meta thing because they got Spider-Man back and he has a homecoming dance, but it doesn't match the themes of the movie at all.
Doesn't have anything to do with anything.
No. So, but we're just fixing the other two.
How can it be a homecoming, but it's a coming of age? Homecoming of age, I guess.
Homecoming of age is what they should have called it.
I can do the first one. I don't know about the other two.
Yeah, what would you call Far From Home?
I mean, and yeah, sure. That title's appropriate enough because he's not at home and he's far away. Okay, fine, but yeah.
So Spider-Man Into Darkness, Spider-Man Legacy. Actually, Legacy would work for both of them because Far From Home's all about Tony Stark's legacy, and then the third one's all about the other Spider-Man. So,
although I just remembered, I actually did have an alternate title for Far From Home that just came to me, and that is Spider-Man: How I Spent My Summer Vacation.
Oh yeah.
That's what that movie should have been called. It's a little long, but I want to go back to Tiny Toons. Tiny Toons had a direct-to-video movie, or maybe they broadcast it first, I can't remember, called How I Spent My Summer Vacation. And I think that's kind of perfect for that.
You know what Homecoming should have been called? It should have been called Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
But we're supposed to do No Way Home.
But I just want to think about Homecoming. Okay, so you did Far From Home, so No Way Home. What's the Spider-Man movie? Death of Aunt May.
Well, I'm sure you would have just called it Spider-Verse if we hadn't already done that.
Yeah. You could have called it Spider-Verse. That's different. It's not Into.
Yeah. That's probably what they should have called it, honestly.
Spider-Man Multiverse of Madness.
That'd be great. We just have a whole series of those. It's like X-Men Origins, but we make the other ones.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to go to break for about 3 minutes because that's how long the song is. And then we'll... Oh, except I got rid of my program that had the song on it. Hold on. Hang on, I gotta bring something up.
So instead, Cap will just be humming the theme.
The whole time during the break. Yeah, my apologies. I'm still dealing with some computer issues and lag and stuff, so...
Great questions, Vitaly. That was a lot of fun. Those are 2 great conversations. Or 2 fun conversations to participate in. I won't say that they're great. I don't know. You guys be the judge of that in the comments.
No, they were spectacular, dude. I know it. I was there.
Will they do Spectacular Spider-Man? Will they ever use that title? They could now that they've completely divorced him from the rest of the MCU and just do its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, they should, because it's working out really well for the Batman. You know, like they should just go to more animated series titles for things. Like we're getting a Brave and the Bold movie right after the Batman, so they should. So Sony should do the Spider-Verse. Absolutely.
The lag is so bad tonight. People are just now throwing out their Far From Home titles. Spider-Man on Location, Spider-Man Vacation, Spider-Man European Vacation.
Yeah, I've been trying everything, guys, to get this lag issue figured out. And I know what's causing it. I just don't know how to fix it. And I think it might be a video card issue. I'm sorry I keep talking about this, but it's just driving me crazy. Anyway.
Spider-Man, Bob Garland says.
Spider-Man. Oh, Professor... yeah. That was a not very good Bendis story crossing over with Ultimate.
Yeah. That would have been I'm assuming he's talking about the No Way Home. Professor Zoom says, Spider-Man, no way it has good writing.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and go to break, and we'll be right back. We can do more of these then if you want to. Here we go. See you in a bit. Hey, everybody. I hope you're ready for the second half of the Captain Logan show because that's what we're about to do. DJ, how many super chats do we have left so far, sir?
We have about 10, 11.
Well, for as long-winded as I tend to be, that sounds like enough for another hour. But we'll try to go faster. Feel free to put some more in now. This is not last call for super chats yet. Go ahead, DJ. Throw us. I was gonna say a bone. It wouldn't exactly be a bone. I hope the viewers throw me a bone in not giving me impossible things to answer.
All right, well, this one here, I can't wait for your answer. That's a good old Checkers who always joshes with us.
He does.
Usually at my expense.
My favorite troll who's only like 50% of the time, which is not really a troll. I love Checkers.
He's the friendliest troll that you ever did meet. Checkers the Inventor, $2. You paid $2 to say this. Just want to make that clear. Rank DJ's hairstyles.
I like the longer hair on DJ. I really do. You're going out for a while. I think you could have stood to go a little longer with it.
I respect your opinion, but
oh, you didn't like what it looked like?
No, I don't. I don't like the long hair. I've only had 3 hairstyles on this show. I think I just had like the shaggier hair where it just kind of came down when I very first started, back when we talked about the Power Rangers and the Bates Motels. And then I started actually combing it and doing this, and then I switched to the long hair, like Cap said. For a good bit, but I just got sick of it. It's just too much.
We were really typecasting ourselves back then, doing so many of the same kind of thing. You know, Power Rangers, Bates Motel.
I know. Yeah. Really sister series, if you think about it.
And meanwhile, I'll never go back with my long hair. I love it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, different strokes for different folks. I was ready for a change. So thank you, Checkers, for calling out the fact.
Did you feel like it made you feel kind of emo? Or look kind of emo?
Oh, no, absolutely not. It made me look like a hippie. It made me look more like a yoga instructor or something. like a guy who hikes in the wilderness and doesn't shower for 3 weeks. But yeah,
well,
Grace liked it too.
That's how I've described you to all my friends.
But yeah, I just got tired of maintaining it. It was just a hassle. But anyway, moving on, because nobody cares about this topic. Philip Kelton, 65 Mexican pesos. The reason America doesn't do it is because all it's thinking is base of how much you can exploit the brand to make money. And then there's a part 2. Because of this, animation is seen as a big commercial to sell stuff to kids. I think he means Invincible, gets adapted completely because it's an Amazon Prime, and the objective is different.
Right, but you're kind of making my point for me, because I'm saying the place to do this is in streaming, is on streaming services, and Netflix has been doing like American made or like combination American Japanese projects for years now. And they've gotten their hands on all kinds of properties and licenses that are ripe for this kind of adaptation. Again, like Castlevania, like Transformers. Why can't we do this with an American style? We're making that stuff mostly for Americans anyway, and mostly for adults anyway. Yeah, those things have toys, but they're not sold even primarily to children, or and the toys feel like more of an afterthought for some of those streaming kinds of things. Like, you know, you had Voltron that was on for, is it still on? At least like 6 or 7 seasons. And when I say seasons, I don't know if it was years, because I think they might have gotten like 2 seasons a year sometimes. I'm not sure. But like, yes, that had a pretty big toy line, but did that like keep that show afloat? Did they sell a ton of toys? I don't know. I didn't get the sense of that. So you're right that that's still the overall perception, but we're getting away from it some. I don't know why it's taking so long.
It's taking forever.
Meanwhile, Paramount can give us a raunchy Star Trek comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't do what I'm talking about. Okay.
Well, yeah. Well, animation has always gotten a pass when it's raunchy comedies. Like, we've had those going all the way back.
Yeah.
For some reason, I guess that's a horse of a different color.
No, that's a good point. That's probably a bad example, except it's so weird to do it. Well, everything Star Trek is counterintuitive these days, so I'm not going to get back into that. Let's just move on, shall we?
Moving on. Thomas Ledbetter, $10. Yeah. A Trek dilemma.
Let me read this real quick. Motali says also the creator of the book is adapting Invincible. So I meant to mention this at the beginning, but part of the reason I thought of this topic, or I wanted to do it after I read that comment, was actually because of the Hellboy news. Because I was also thinking, and why can't we do what animes do where they often get the creator involved and let him adapt his own stuff? And the few times we've done that, it doesn't always pan out. We've talked about that, but in animation specifically, the few times we've done that with, like, again, the DC Direct movies and stuff like that, they tend to have been a little bit better.
This is very strange. Professor Zoom just said most of comic adaptations now are comedic parodies, which I'm so sick of. Which he hasn't even heard us say that yet, which is spooky.
Yeah, I don't know why we're having that time travel thing again, but you know what? I'm just glad that we're broadcasting and people can see us, even if it's 10 minutes later.
Thomas Ledbetter wants you to talk about Trek, whether you like it or not, Cap.
Oh.
He has a Trek dilemma for you for $10.
All right. Oh, thank you very much for the super chat, though.
You come across, well, it's actually $20 because it's 2 parts. So I'm going to read both parts.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you very much. Okay. I'll give this the time of day then. Go ahead.
You come across a stranded ship, but get ambushed by a Borg cube. Communications and warp get damaged for both ships, so no backup. Your weaponry cannot repel the cube on its own. Rescuing survivors means lowering shields, which likely ends in both vessels destroyed. Last-ditch plan is to destroy the stranded ship to try to disable the cube using the blast. Do you do it?
Man, okay. Well, I just appreciate that.
If so, explain.
That we're
it's
not
like an essay question.
I pulled out my blue book here. I just really appreciate that this is not a new Trek question, because the way you said that, he's gonna make you talk about that. I was like, great. And then he just gave me like a Star Trek scenario. Okay, let me look at this a little closer. Stranded ship, ambushed by a Borg cube. Communications and warp are damaged for both ships. No backup. Weaponry can't repel the cube. Yeah, and I mean it wouldn't. Certainly, rescuing survivors means slowing shields with likely ends in both vessels destroyed. I'm just trying to understand the question. Yeah, I mean, I guess the short answer is yes. I mean, if that's all you could do, then you do it, right? Like, it's either that or it's either do the thing that might work. You know, it's kind of like a matter of time. Like, you do the thing that might work, or you do the thing that will, definitely kill everyone, which is to do nothing. So even if you have to make sacrifice, like as a captain, you always have to do that. You always have to allow for, like, it's tragic, but like those kinds of sacrifices, when it's the needs of the many thing, in most situations anyway. So yeah, I don't mean to not be more interesting than that, but like, if that's all you can do, especially because there's always more at stake when you're talking about something like a Borg cube. Like, that thing by itself has the potential to destroy, like, the heart of the Federation, or like wherever it's headed. So I also don't know if that would necessarily do the trick either. But I just feel like you're by yourself. If it's not like Nerf Borg, like we constantly did in Voyager, and you're just by yourself, you're kind of screwed regardless, I think.
Nerf Borg. I always grab a Nerf Borg when I'm heading down to the pool. That is great, and that should become a new staple. I'm calling for this to become a new staple of the Captain Logan Show, where they just give you story problems, but include more math next time.
Oh, please don't give me any math to do. I like moral dilemmas. I can deal with those.
Cap can't math.
And I think he had a super chat where he mentioned that he was asking that because he was like writing a Star Trek story and trying to figure out how to get out of a situation like that. If it's like, what's more interesting for the narrative, that's almost, like a different question. I feel like you maybe wrote yourself in a hole there without, again, having to make, the Borg a little bit too underpowered.
Yeah, he says $5. P.S. I'm writing a Star Trek story where this dilemma is the major plot. Sorry for having to abridge it, but I was curious about your thoughts, Cap.
Oh, it's the major plot. Interesting. I think that would be like your setup, and then you just have to deal with the moral ramifications of whatever choice you made.
I like someone in the chat, Roboters100 said, do like Kirk, plan B. Because that's what they would do in the movies. Just write yourself out of it.
Yes, because he doesn't believe in the no-win scenario, and it's almost like he's read the script.
He's got good luck powers, like the girl from
like Deadpool. Domino. Yeah. Has it ever occurred to you how interesting it would be? And I mean, I don't like the whole who would win in a fight kind of thing, of course. But wouldn't it be interesting to put together a situation where you had Domino fighting Black Cat from the early 80s when she had her bad luck powers?
Well, do they just cancel each other out and they're just normal people fighting each other at that point?
Yeah, it's like my maybe so. It's like my power makes your power, your my good luck powers make it so that your bad luck powers can't affect me, and my bad luck powers are supposed to mess with you, but they don't because you only have good luck. Is that why they would cancel each other?
Neither of those powers make any logical sense whatsoever. So, I mean, you can do whatever you want if you're the writer.
Yeah, it's like time travel. You just make up your own rules. Absolutely.
Like if you take Domino's powers to the furthest extent, she's like the most powerful person in the universe. Like, can Galactus kill her?
Nothing can kill her. Yeah, that's a different
it's only
sort
defensive, though. I guess it's not offensive. So
that's true, but that's a different sort of invincibility.
Yeah,
it's like theoretically you could die. You're lucky. You're not going to. You'd never get sick.
She would survive the snap.
I still stand by what I said back when Deadpool 2 came out. I wanted her to get a spinoff. I loved that performance. I thought she was spectacular.
Yeah, she was cool.
I just loved how nonchalant she was about everything. Like, I don't remember that actress's name. She really understood that material.
And well, you would be. Yeah, you'd have the most confidence in the world if you had that power.
Yeah, and I thought she did what some of the best comedic actors and actresses do, which is to not play up the comedy. She wasn't playing it funny.
Yeah, she was deadpan, which is my favorite kind of comedy.
And just the inherent absurdity of it made her hilarious. But yeah, I thought she was wonderful. Oh, and I love that movie. She was one of my favorite parts. And I wasn't expecting that because I've never cared about Domino.
Yeah, I didn't even know who that was before that movie. I mean, I didn't know much about her, I should say.
The Domino I've read is pretty different from that iteration, but I loved it. I didn't care.
Philip Kelton, 65 Mexican Pathos. Spider-Girl is death.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
You would get Spider-Gwen or Miles Morales, maybe Spider-Woman.
Why is Spider-Girl death?
I have no idea. Maybe he's just saying that Spider-Girl is dead now and they don't give her any story. Like they don't.
I think
they don't use her anymore. Not like literally dead. I'm just saying like as a character.
No, I don't think that's what he's saying. I think he's saying like, I don't know. Maybe he miswrote that or something. Because usually when somebody says like a character is death, they mean like that'll never sell or it ruins everything. And I don't understand that.
I guess he just doesn't like. That's what I thought when I first read it, but then he says you would get Spider-Gwen or Miles Morales. Then I thought he was maybe spinning it like this is what the studio would actually do.
He was spinning it, really? You said it like that? He was spinning it? Okay.
Spin. Spider-Gwen spin or Spider-Woman.
I disagree. I think at some point you'll see like an honest to God Spider-Girl. Maybe not the Marvel 2 one, but like if they. So I don't want this, but if Sony and Marvel are smart. They'll start actually putting Spider-Man, in their shared Spider-Man universe, and maybe vice versa. So I think if they continue to play ball together, by the time we didn't even talk about this in the speculation cast last night, but I wish I'd thought of it. One of course, famously the big things that came out of the original Secret Wars was the black costume, and we've already got Venom with Sony. Maybe they'll do their own version in MCU. Maybe they'll actually start with the black costume, or maybe they'll actually pay off the stupid thing with the piece that wound up in 616, which like I hope they forget they did. But regardless, I kind of think we'll get black costume in some way with Secret Wars, and then you'll get a Spider-Girl that has that costume after that because that's almost definitively the coolest that character ever looked. I mean, I like a lot of Spider-Girl costumes, but Spider-Girl with the black costume, with like the white sleeves, super cool looking outfit. And then I also like the 90s one with the Ben Reilly suit, but I think you're likely to actually see the Jessica in black at some point.
It'll be the 25th installment of the Sonyverse. They'll finally when they do introduce Spider-Man, he'll get too old, and then they'll finally get a Spider-Girl. Because the Sonyverse isn't going anywhere, guys. Don't be fooled by the media. Sonyverse is here to stay.
Well, again, that's just the Mayday Parker thing. I mean, obviously there's Spider-Girls before that, but I thought you were going to say it'll be 25 movies in. They've never done Spider-Man. Finally, Spider-Girl.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
That's par for the Sony course. Mutale. Who is the greatest geek of all time to you guys?
Wow. I don't know right away how to answer that.
Yeah, I don't care about celebrities. I don't pay attention to celebrities.
Geek? Is that where we have to go with that?
I'm the wrong guy to ask for this because I don't pay attention to famous people, except for when they're on screen.
I think the right answer is probably Weird Al. I think that's probably for me the objectively correct opinion. And then beyond that, I would have maybe said, and these guys are friends and know each other, but I would have maybe said pre-Price is Right Drew Carey.
Huh. I like a little Drew Carey. I like a little Whose Line Is It Anyway? Great show.
And Seinfeld's up there. He's a big Superman fan.
I recently my timeline came across a Superman Seinfeld commercial.
Oh, weird.
From the 90s.
I didn't know they ever did that.
You should look it up. It's terrible. It's Patrick Warburton voicing Superman, and they're walking down the street, and Superman is Patrick Warburton's voice talking to him, and he's like, someone asked Seinfeld for his autograph, and he's like, you get that a lot? And he's like, I don't know. People ask me to bend stuff for them. And then at the end of the commercial,
I probably like Patrick Warburton too much to not appreciate that, actually.
And then at the end of the commercial, someone walks up and is like, please, just for my kid. And gives him like a metal bar. It's very strange. I don't even remember what the commercial was for. But Seinfeld talking to Superman.
That's so strange. Maybe Nick Cage is in there. I'm actually thinking of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, for recent guys, Superman is a huge geek. Plays video games and Dungeons and Dragons. What is his name? I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, Cavill. Yeah.
Cavill, yeah. Henry Cavill. Everybody loves him.
I thought you just meant the character.
Yeah, he's a huge geek. No, he's not. Superman, yeah, Henry Cavill is a huge geek, and it seems like a real humble dude.
Oh, speaking of, the way my computer's running, I don't know if I can pull this up right away. I'm going to try. There's another quick piece of news I got to tell you about that's very, very sad.
Oh, why you got to give me sad news?
Or at least it's really sad to me. And it just... Let me set this up by saying it is sad, but you will laugh anyway. Give me a second. Let me pull it up.
I'll say this real quick. Professor Zoom says,
Yeah.
That's what No Way Home stands for. OMG, I just got it. The little piece of venom that was left behind. Yep, that's what the title is. It's all about that little piece of venom that can't get home. Now it all makes sense. It finally makes sense.
So, DJ, one of my favorite places in the world is Metropolis, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about what happened? There was this was just yesterday. There was a massive, insane gust of wind in Metropolis, Illinois, and it took the statue's head off.
What?
And I'm showing it right now. It took it off.
Took his head off.
Clean off.
Good gracious.
And they just recently repainted it. I saw pictures just a few months ago. I was like, oh, good, they finally got that paint job done. They've been talking about that forever. Like the last time I was there, I remember talking to people about that. And they finally got it done. It looks really good. And now the head is gone. And I don't know what it's going to take to get that back together. If they're going to have to resculpt it. I don't know what kind of shape the head's in.
They're sure it was wind and not like vandalism or something? It seems weird that wind would just blow a statue apart. Or did it blow something into it and knocked it off? That's crazy. I still can't. It hasn't popped up on the stream yet. I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, no, the wind itself, according to this is from Superman site. So this is from the well, not the source. Now that I'm thinking about it, this is a site that reports on anything and everything Superman. By the way, because I haven't.
Oh no! It just popped up. Oh no! That's so sad.
I haven't looked at Superman Super Site in a long time, but this just occurred to me. I actually have talked to the guy who runs this page and did an interview with it. One of the first interviews I ever did was with this guy.
Oh wait, it said hoax. It says hoax claims that the head was ripped off. Is it not real?
Is it? Wait, really?
That's what the article said. That's the first word, hoax.
Oh.
Oh, it's just a prank article.
Is
well,
it?
That's good. Unless they mean the hoax was that someone vandalized it, claimed it was the wind.
Okay. I was actually hoodwinked by that. But it's such a weird article. Hoax claims head of Superman statue. Weird.
Maybe, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, no, it was a local satire page.
Oh, okay.
It's just I hadn't taken a super close look at it because somebody sent me that going, hey, isn't this terrible? And then I saw a picture and it never occurred to me that the picture was doctored. All right, well, moving right along. Glad I didn't make that the lead-in topic.
That's our PSA for the day, folks. Read the articles.
Read the damn article.
T-Edge1, $2. What's the next Friday night free space?
You know what? I'm sorry. There's other super chats and you guys gave us money and stuff. I really appreciate it. But, I'm just too embarrassed. I'm done. That's it. I'm out. Bye. Okay, so, Tom, thank you for the super chat. Stop trying to, force titles of shows on me. We're not calling it that. He's been really pushing the Friday show to be called Friday Night Free Space. I don't need a serious name for are doing different things on Fridays. But yeah, so this week we're not going to have one because I'm going to be out of town again. I have to take Jason to another basketball tournament, but I might be doing an impromptu Captain Logan show or just kind of a generic Q&A thing that night, like Friday night or Saturday. I don't know yet. I'm going to have to play it by ear. And then the week after is either going to be something Batman related or the next episode of Video Game Movie Mania, because and thanks for reminding me of this, Tom, I should go ahead and announce that, of course, tomorrow being March 1st marks the beginning of Bat March, and we'll be doing a lot of Batman material all through the month. So I haven't decided yet if we're going to keep doing Video Game Mania, Movie Mania through March, or if we're going to leave all the Fridays also for Batman material. All of the single issues that I'll be reviewing on Not Spawn Year will be Batman titles all through the month, and I haven't picked them all yet. I'm gonna keep kind of doing that by the seat of my pants, but they will all be Batman, and not just Batman related books, all actually Batman titles. And Austin and I are gonna review something Batman related on Monday, I think. I'm going to have to take one more week off from Rewind because I have an 8.5-hour trip there and back, and there's no way I'm going to have time to prepare for that over this weekend. So we'll probably do a vault that night or a commentary for a Batman movie. It's early. We just haven't decided what exactly we're doing yet. But we have some other plans this month for Batman stuff as well. So strap in for that. Bat March. Tell your friends. Austin, DJ, moving right along. I talked to him for 2.5 hours last night.
Bat March. Will there be any Bat March Bat merch?
Well, no, but for next year, I'm going to make sure you get right on that, DJ.
All right. Let's get to the real heavy-hitting stuff here. What is a super chat? $2. What is the purpose of a rubber duck?
So can you tell me how many times we've gotten this question so far on the Captain Logan show? It's at least 3, right?
Well, each time we got to give a different answer. That's the rule. Them's the rules here.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, it's actually a multi-purpose thing because you can use it in the bathtub, but if you're the penguin, you can also use it to travel in.
You make bath time so much fun.
You make murder so much fun.
I don't know. I guess it's just a really old, crappy toy, isn't it? Like, it's just literally just a duck that kids used to play with, right? I mean, there's still rubber now you can get all kinds of animals. My kids, when they were little, had rubber farm animals and rubber sharks and rubber like sea animals. They do all kinds of stuff.
Like specifically bathtub toys?
Yeah. Specifically, you squeeze them underwater and then the water fills up and you spray the disgusting, dirty bath water that's been in the duck for weeks and weeks into your kid's face. It's great.
Yeah, children don't care. It's good for their immune system. But rubber ducks themselves have gotten super popular in just the last 10 or 15 years, where there's a lot of like licensed rubber duck toys now. You can get a lot of characters as rubber ducks now. I have a Captain Kirk rubber duck.
Oh.
I do. You know what I don't have yet, though? Because I don't think they made it. I don't have a Gorn duck.
A Gorn duck?
Gorn duck.
Well, that's a shame. I wish you well on your quest to find a Gorn duck.
Do you feel as accomplished as I do that we spent that long on that super chat?
That's what I strive for here. Only excellence here on the Captain Logan Show.
I'm proud of it.
Philip Kelton chiming in in the Far From Home talk.
Yeah.
His suggestion is Avengers Sidekick Away From Home. Little zing there.
Yeah.
Sounds like he doesn't like that movie. And doesn't like that Spider-Man version. Mutale.
Is Spider-Man the Avengers sidekick that is like sidekicking?
He's like the mascot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
Mutale.
Absolutely.
didn't get as much mileage out of that as you do with the rubber duck. Sorry.
No, we really didn't. Apologies.
Mutale.
Sidekicks stay at the Sidekick Lounge.
Sidekick. Oh, that's what I always quote from High School Musical. Not High School Musical. Sky High, where Bruce Campbell sidekick and sends him over there. Mutale.
I've never thought of about that though. Sorry, there should be a sidekick called Psychic or the Psychic Sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Psychic the Sidekick.
And in that it's terrible, but in all the right ways.
Or Psych would be a good sidekick name.
Yeah, that's good. It could be like a double entendre thing too, where he's just constantly pulling pranks on people. Like Psych. I feel like that's almost a better villain name.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Or he's a superhero, but he doesn't have any power. So he's like, Psych, not really useful at all.
He's really good at convincing you that he has powers.
Yep.
Can you, wait, really? You can fly? Psych!
And then as he falls off the building. All right, we'll get much more mileage out of this next one. This will go on for a good 20, 30 minutes.
No, it won't.
Mutale, do you prefer Walter White with a beard or a mustache? Lots of facial hair and hair type questions.
Yeah, on the Captain Logan Show. So that show is all about, as has been said 1.5 million times, the study of change of a character arc over a long period of time. When Walter White has a mustache, he's not Heisenberg yet. And once he gets rid of that and it has his shaved head, especially after he's had that for a good long time, and he's changing, but he's resisting every opportunity to change, into a better person, he is Heisenberg. So the question you're really asking is, do you prefer the Walter White, who is more of a pushover, or the, master manipulator Heisenberg type? And certainly, you'd rather hang out with, I guess, I don't even know if this is true, just because you'd be less likely to get roped into a drug war and get killed. You'd maybe much rather tolerate hanging out with, the pushover that doesn't stand up for himself. But, and of course, he already starts doing that in the pilot anyway. But yeah, certainly, I prefer the character when he gets more psychologically interesting and depthful. So I guess I have to say with the beard. But if I have to just be superficial about it, like, yeah, that's a super cool looking character.
Super Billy, $5. Even though we've already had 2 failed attempts at faithfully adapting Death and Return of Superman in animated form, I'd welcome another go. Would you?
I'm ready to quit trying that at this point. I feel like I've been burned too many times, and I don't think it's not a. I'm over it at this point. It's not a thing I need to see done even well at this point. Like, obviously, if it happened and it was good, I'd be glad that finally third or maybe fourth time is the charm, depending on how you look at, depending on if you count BVS.
Yeah, it's like 3.25 really with BVS.
But yeah, no, I really don't certainly need that. I'm not still like holding out hope that like someday we'll get that right, because we keep trying it and it hasn't worked, and it's not a great thing to try to adapt in the first place. And I feel weird saying that because, of course, that's like one of my first big comic loves, but it's a product of a time, and it's part of a very specific status quo in DC. So like to recapture the tone and the flavor of that 30 years later, when we're not anywhere in that sort of continuity anymore, is really, really hard to achieve, and I wouldn't want it on its own. It
almost would have needed to be like a season of the Superman animated series.
Yeah, or even one of the live action TV shows. The only way I would want to see it done now, and I think it might be getting canceled after the third season, or there's been a lot of speculation that it won't make it past season 3. Like Superman and Lois would be a place where I would be very intrigued to see that done.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that having not seen the Doomsday stuff in season 2, because I haven't watched season 2 yet. So maybe I'll watch that and be like, okay, never mind. I wanted them to do it in Supergirl back when I kind of liked that show at the beginning, because I thought it was, since at first they wouldn't put him on screen and they showed him in silhouette, they did that whole thing. I thought it would be kind of neat if you never saw Superman, they kill him off screen, and then Supergirl has to take up the slack after that, and you actually do the funeral for a friend in World Without Superman without ever meeting Superman in that world. That would have been one of the best places to do it. But we didn't get that either. AMC, I can't believe we haven't had an attempt at Nightfall yet. Yeah, me too. It's kind of shocking that that's never been done. And that's another thing that I want to see as a season of TV or a miniseries or something.
And now for something completely different.
Yeah.
Philip Kelton. Walmart would assimilate a board cube.
Walmart?
I don't know. I just read these things. I just work here. I don't know.
I'm just making sure I heard you right.
Walmart. Wally World.
Because
as my uncle calls it.
Because they turn their workers into drones? I'm assuming that's his point there.
I don't know.
Yeah, I literally no, but I think I get what you're saying. I think I get what you're.
For interpretation there.
Yeah.
Back to Checkers the Inventor. Let's
now,
see
if it was between the destroying the ship in that scenario that we had earlier and throw a Walmart at it. Okay,
yeah,
Captain, we have 2 options. We can kill everyone on this ship, but the rest of humanity might survive. Or we can replicate a Walmart. Now, we're going to have to do it piece by piece, and we're going to have to get all of the ensigns and lieutenants that aren't busy right now to get together and assemble the thing.
Well, I would just use a real Walmart that's already on Earth, and then that'd be a win-win.
Yeah, but weren't we in deep space? Did he say where we were? Are we anywhere near Earth in that scenario?
Well, just beam down, grab a Walmart, as you do.
But you can't do that if you're not close to Earth. Look, only in the stupid Abrams verse is intra-space beaming a thing, okay?
Hey, I don't know where his novel is set. Maybe his novel's set in the Abramverse. Maybe he has his own rules.
Yeah, maybe so. I think that's unlikely. but maybe.
You do you.
Throw a
Ledbetter.
Walmart at the Borg. Can I have that, Philip Kelton? Can I write the Walmart versus the Borg story? Because it'll just get depressing, right? Because I'll get pretentious about it. I'll make the whole thing like really obvious, like dripping satire, like social satire.
Yeah, everyone will be food characters.
We've got to finally get that in print
someday. That's the white whale. It's the Holy Grail.
No, I keep meaning to message you about that. Like, we need to finally do that.
Checkers the Inventor. Let's see what this Joker has for us. Hopefully it's not about my grooming habits. Would you rather only be allowed to share your opinion of a movie directly after seeing it and never again?
Oh, wow.
Or have to wait 2 years to discuss? Well, this is just your life.
Yeah, well, but I mean, I do a bit of both. Yeah, I think what he's saying is I kind of have my cake and eat it too, where if I really care to talk about a movie right after it comes out, or if it's a superhero thing, sometimes I don't actually care that much to talk about a movie when it comes out, but I still do it. But I'll do that, and then 2 years later I'll do the actual story analysis, and there are different kinds of reviews. I would definitely take the wait for 2 years. 2 years is not that long to me anymore. And I much prefer waiting until, we see how a thing has impacted the culture, as I've always said, but also where people are on about something else now.
Yeah. Another one from Checkers the Inventor. $2. Ant-Man 3 felt like a children's animated movie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you read that again? I thought you were halfway through the question. Go ahead.
That's it. That's all, folks. It's only $2. Ant-Man 3 felt like a children's animated movie.
Oh, so you had like an upswing there. I thought it continued.
Well, there was no punctuation at the end, so I was just left up to my own imagination how I was going to end it.
Yeah, kind of, except I also think that kids are likely to get bored with that movie, at least in places. But
surprise, I have not seen it.
It's a little Looney Tunes in places, certainly. Not like good Looney Tunes.
It's mediocre Looney Tunes at best.
Hey, we've all seen those.
We have. Adrian, Reina Martinez, $4.99. Do you recall a time you got a really good deal on a comic or comics at a flea market or elsewhere? And if so, what was it that you got? Great show, gentlemen.
Yeah, I actually just talked about one on Not Spawn Year so I guess 8 days ago for the 50th episode. I reviewed Incredible Hulk. What is it? 343? I can't remember the number. 340? Is that right? Anyway, it's the famous Todd McFarlane cover with Hulk's face in the
Wolverine.
In Wolverine's claws, yeah. And sorry, we're all over the place, and I'm like trying to get my head back in this headspace. And anyway, I bought that at a flea market for a pretty good price. I'm forgetting what exactly I paid for that. I think it was somewhere between 60 and 80, but it was like a pristine copy. It looks like a 9 or a 9.2, if not a little better. It's really pretty, and the colors are all great, and it's in such good shape that I couldn't bring myself to open the issue to read it for the show, so I read it digital, but I showed the copy. But that's an example, and yeah, I mean, a lot of the best deals I've gotten on books have probably been at flea markets. Particularly when I was a kid. I mean, I was buying up, like, I have a pretty good Amazing Spider-Man run, and I bought a lot of 70s and 80s Amazing at flea markets when I was a kid, before they started going for the kind of prices they go for now.
Mm-hmm. Connor says...
And then after that, I started buying in bulk a lot. So, like, the best deals I've gotten certainly have been, like, big bulk things. But for individual issues, the best deals I've gotten have been at flea markets and the occasional yard sale, but that's very, very hit and miss. Anyway, sorry, Connor.
Connor said, it's kind of crazy that Zack Snyder's Justice League is nearly 2 years old and eligible for Superhero Rewind.
Oh, did you have to say it out loud, though?
Time has no meaning. That was 2 years ago already. Almost.
Yeah. I can't get my mind around that.
Well,
I'm ready for everybody I work with to say we've been doing this too long. I'm sick of making videos on Geekvolution, and I'm going to have to go into, like the 5th or 6th iteration of this.
You have to do a clean slate and get a whole new cast of co-hosts again.
Is it time for another relaunch?
Geekvolution 52.
Well, and we made those jokes, man. Like we had a period that we called Rebirth, and
yeah, we've done it all, folks. But stay tuned, stay subscribed. Don't go anywhere. There's more to come. He's just hitting his stride.
I'm getting like finally close to people being able to imagine me getting good at this. That's where we're at now.
That's right where you want to be. That's where you want to be in your career.
Thank you.
There, on the precipice of greatness.
Thank you guys for all the support tonight. Really appreciate it. We've got about 12 minutes left in the show, so let's get these super chats knocked out. Go ahead, sir.
Dare we say rapid fire? No, we don't. We don't dare. That's always a bad idea.
Challenge Billy, accepted.
Super Billy, what premise would you devise for a Superman game?
This is also a question I've gotten a lot. My response to this is usually just take me to the last few days of Krypton. That's all I want. Is like a natural disaster, science fiction game where Krypton is exploding and it's like a survival. I don't want to say horror, but like it's a survival game that you can't win. By the end. You just got to see the end of the game, but by the end of the game, you're dead. And you just got to get your son off on the rocket, In fact, it could be, I don't think I've ever had this thought before, but, you're Jor-El, and it could be like an action RPG where it starts off as like a really dialogue-driven, like political thing where you're trying to convince everybody that Krypton's going to explode. And then you have to deal
Press my convince button.
Yeah. Yeah.
Convince attack.
You have to deal with, but I mean, you've played or seen RPGs before where it's more dialogue driven. You got to make choices, and you can,
of course.
Like General Zod will remember that. And then Zod does his takeover, and you got to get him sucked into the Phantom Zone. Like the whole game wouldn't have to be Krypton is exploding. Go. It could be like literally the last days of Krypton.
I just wanted to be the Sims at the beginning of the game, and you're just like living a normal Kryptonian life on Krypton and making your little home and raising your children, and then all of a sudden it turns into and then it's just the lava level from the Aladdin game. You're just trying to escape Krypton for the rest of the game.
Now, I guess this is a little bit of a cop-out because it would actually be a superhero game or a Superman game.
He'd be the teaser at the end. The next game's going to have Superman in it.
Finally. And then it's just Smallville the game. Although, I'm glad this keeps coming up because I'm like evolving my ideas as we go along. Who cares? It's not like it'll ever happen. But DJ, what if you did
Cryptofreaks the game?
No, I would love that.
Counting Cryptofreaks the game would be amazing. No, you make a Smallville game, and the trophies.
I have a serious thing. Sorry,
counting Cryptofreaks is the trophies in the Smallville game.
Yeah,
to find all the.
It's like Riddler trophies.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my legitimate pitch. Okay.
Oh, we're doing legitimate pitches. Excuse me.
No, I mean I want that too. That sounds wonderful. Yeah, but you interrupted me with your legitimate pitch. I have one too. No. What if you did a decompressed thing where it was like the 3 acts, and I don't mean make it look exactly like this movie, but it's like the 3 acts of Donner's movie as a trilogy of games. So your first game is Jor-El on Krypton, and then Krypton explodes, and your second game is Smallville the game, and then your third game is actually Superman, and you do a Lex story, a Zod story. Well, actually, do Zod like pattern it a little bit off of the Donner movies, just don't make it exactly that aesthetic and do more comic book stuff in it. But you could do Zod because you could book in the first and the third game with it, and you could bring back the same voice actor for Zod, and like you fight him as Jor-El and then you fight him as Superman at the end. I think that could be really cool.
My answer would be to do a more Fleischer era Superman game where you can't fly, you can just jump really far.
That'd be great too.
You can just use your super strength and a little bit of heat vision, or he had kind of like more like laser vision in that show.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then do the mad scientist, do the giant robots, do the dinosaur, like do some retro like classic. That stuff would be so much fun to play.
Well, and it would be a great aesthetic.
The train robbery, the one where the gunman on the train, like that would be such a fun mission.
I was gonna say you just run around saving people, and I could see that in a lot of different formats too. Like that would be a really good 2D beat 'em up or 2D platformer. It could be a really good 3D thing. It could be it would be a decent open world thing. Like I could see a lot of different ways of doing that. I would rather that be a linear game, but I could see it either way.
Yeah, that's my dream.
That's my dream.
Like a cell shaded look on a 3D game.
Well, clearly my dream is Crypto Freaks the game, but that's because I'm selfish and it's a name I coined, or at least I thought I did, and then it showed up in the TV show in the 9th or 10th season, and now I'm not sure. Because for the longest time I thought I was the only person calling them Crypto Freaks, but then lo and behold, there's one episode where somebody calls them Crypto Freaks.
Oh wow, I didn't remember that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wait till you get to that episode. That'll be a meta mind meld.
I mean, for the record, I'm not a genius for calling them that or anything. How many more super chats do we have? Like 3?
3.
Oh,
wow.
My goodness.
You're psychic sidekick.
Look at that. Yeah. Just call me Psych.
We already talked about Fleischer Superman Blu-ray. Connor Nielsen. Scroll back up, you slacker. Ian Chandler.
No Nielsen has ever amounted to anything in the history of Hill Valley.
Ian Chandler, $5. Yo, Cap, who is your favorite anti-version of a character? For example, Wario, Venom, Shadow. Also, what is the name of the negative Captain Logan? It's funny that you phrased it that way if you don't know the actual name of...
Yeah, there's sort of an answer to that. Let me go back for a minute though. So my favorite name for any of those things was always Negaduck from Darkwing Duck. Love Negaduck. Love his look. That was always a cool thing. If you can count Metalhead from Ninja Turtles, that would probably be my answer.
Ooh,
but yeah, I don't know if it counts.
He's kind of a foil for just like all the turtles in general.
Yeah.
He's just a metal turtle.
And if not that, then I'm going to also go with, I guess I got a bunch of these. Cyborg Superman. I feel like that should count, even if, like, does it have to have a name that's like anti or nega? Like, Cyborg is absolutely...
his examples didn't.
Okay. Is it? Yeah, what were his other examples? I missed a couple.
Wario, Venom, and Shadow.
Well, Wario and Mario, but Venom, yeah, is okay. So yeah, Cyborg Superman absolutely counts if Venom counts.
Yeah,
that's a neat question, by the way. So as far as the like anti-evil Captain Logan, I sort of did it twice in 2 different things that ended up not coming to fruition totally. So I was working with a villainous character for Batman Year called Nega Logan. And we abandoned that for the second version of it, and then we had and then we had Captain Clogan.
Oh, yeah.
So I sort of had 2 of them.
Captain Clogan. Yeah, I was thinking of Nega Logan. That's why I thought it was interesting that he said negative Captain Logan.
Connor did a sad face. I didn't actually mean that, Connor. I was just paraphrasing Back to the Future.
Let's see. Michael Martin. $5. When would you want a comic adapted in live action, and when would you want it animated?
Wow, that's real broad and general, isn't it? can I cop out and say for the things I love the most that aren't too super stylized, both? You know what I mean? Like for instance, I said earlier, it would have been great if Walking Dead had been animated in the first place. And I think part of the reason I'm saying that is just, I think that style could look really good in animation, and it would be cool to get a black and white cartoon show. That's part of the reason I've always thought that. But I think. But the main reason that I've always wanted that is I think it would maybe take more risks, and I don't know. There's no telling if the standard of quality would stay the same. Although that show takes risks, it just takes weird ones sometimes. But anyway, that's the thing where you could have both, like really easily. Ninja Turtles, it's like in a perfect world, I like a black and white Eastman and Laird Ninja Turtles thing, but it did look great in live action once, and so I can't say I never want to see that done again. So I don't know, like the most stylized things, Neil Gaiman's Sandman would have much rather seen an animated attempt at that than live action. It was a really ambitious thing. It looked better than I thought it had any right to. But can I also get an animated thing if we're gonna try that? It's kind of a more pure version of it. But then Sin City was just as stylized as the book and looked kind of perfect, and was done at least partly in live action. So, you can always win me over on it, but I think in general, I'm just saying like the most visually stylized, very comic booky kinds of things, I'd like to see animated in the first place.
Next one is from Philip Kelton. 65 Mexican pesos. Yes,
thanks,
you can adapt Walmart, assimilate the Borg.
Oh, thanks.
I will also accept Google assimilating the Borg.
Yeah, well, they could be like
full of ideas.
They could be in cahoots, or you'd have like Walmart assimilates the Borg, and then Google assimilates Walmart, and then Disney gets in there somewhere, or Amazon. At the end of the day, yeah, and Amazon is just
seems
cute.
Like the saddest story ever.
We find out that Jeff Bezos is just Q. That makes sense. He's got one more, and then we're going to have to finish up tonight, I think.
Yep. Got one more super chat from Philip Kelton. I would do something like Fallout 1 as Superman game. No post-apocalyptic, but also quest and moral choices that affect different parts of the world.
Yeah. No, that's probably the right way to do it as far as the mechanics of it go. Yeah, absolutely. I don't see how you do Superman as anything but an action RPG where you make it more about the moral choices than about, like, what can physically harm him, or make it too much about that. Mm-hmm. Well, folks, we are right at 2 hours. We're going to go ahead and call it a night, but thanks for all of the thoughtful and interesting questions. We had tons of ideas tonight. Really appreciate you guys, especially since I may or may not be seeing you again for another one of these later this week, and we certainly won't have DJ. So DJ, thanks as always for doing the show, and we didn't even mention this earlier. It's kind of weird not to have one at all last week.
Yeah, missing a part of my week. I mean, we still got together and talked, but
that's true.
Not about this stuff.
That's true, and we held that whole thing together with like string and bale wire, but we managed it.
We made it out on top. We overcame the machines, but they're getting close.
I will be back again tomorrow night with Austin. We're going to be reviewing a 12-issue maxi series called Far Sector, which is a Green Lantern thing set in the Young Animals continuity that came out, I think, just a couple years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I'm actually not sure right away, but that was requested, and I got to start diving into that tonight. And then, like I said, this weekend, after Wednesday, I'm not going to have regular shows because I'm going to be on the road, but I may come back for a stream Friday or Saturday. So I'll keep you informed. And in the meantime, really appreciate everybody. Thanks a lot for being here. I was Captain Logan, and as always, we had DJ Martinez.
Later, everybody.
Bye, folks.